What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, beta number 2 for Battlefield 6 has finally went ahead and launched. And let me tell you guys something. I am absolutely loving my time. Of course, I've been seeing a lot of mixed opinions online about Battlefield 6, which is fair. You know, some people are going to enjoy it, some people are going to hate it. But from my personal experience, it's just been phenomenal. Now, to go ahead and begin, let's start off with a brand new map here, Empire State. Now, this is going to be a bit of a controversial map because, again, it is a meat grinder map. And, of course, I don't know why people are very shocked that this is introduced because for ages now, the devs have already confirmed that basically what everybody played in the streamer event is exactly what we're playing during these, couple of beta weekends. So we knew this map was coming. We knew it was going to be a meat grinder map. I'm still a bit sad that we haven't seen some of the larger maps in the rotation, though, because I do agree with pretty much all of the Battlefield community that although these small maps are, fun, and they should be within Battlefield, at the end of the day, we do need some more larger-scale warfare to benefit everybody out there within this community. But based off of what I've seen so far, these are some phenomenal infantry maps throughout all the ones that we played during the first beta, and now this one, Empire State, is a really freaking cool. I gotta be honest, the attention to detail within this map is phenomenal, and it's just awesome running through the streets of New York. I mean, there's nothing like it, and I've stated this when I first saw Battlefield 6 get revealed, that one of the biggest selling factors for me personally right now is, fighting on my personal home turf in the US of A, you know what I'm saying? I just think that's such a awesome concept, and there's still so many other places that we haven't touched upon, but seeing New York as a battleground is just great. As I stated, though, it's definitely an infantry-focused map. There's absolutely no vehicles. But in my personal opinion, there's nothing wrong with that. There's usually at least a couple of maps within a Battlefield game, every Battlefield game I could think of, that have 0 vehicles and it's all infantry-focused. So I'm not really too salty about it. I think that just the majority of the community is a little burnt on the small maps because that's all we have seen within the beta. And I think that the devs kind of dropped the ball with, not mixing in maybe a couple more, having a couple of small maps, a couple of big maps, just to showcase that variety. I understand where the devs are coming from, where they want to, showcase that they can make urban maps because of how bad it was in 2042, and they wanted to prove to the community that they are capable of this. And trust me, I see it, DICE. You guys are capable. I mean, honestly, Empire State might be one of my favorite infantry maps in a long time when it comes to a Battlefield game. And again, keep in mind, infantry map. I'm not talking about overall map. I'm just talking about an infantry-only style of map. It has a really awesome flow, but you're missing out on a lot of potential, and the community is very stressed because you guys didn't branch out and show enough of what this game is going to offer. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that at the official launch, we are going to see more of that variety, and it's not going to be a bunch of maps that look exactly like this. But if this is just going to be, only a couple of the massive amounts of maps that we're going to be getting throughout the lifespan of Battlefield 6 moving forward, then I don't see a problem with this. I think it's nice, it's fun, it's hectic, action-packed, and it fits the atmosphere of what they're really trying to push for within Battlefield 6. Next up here, I wanted to go ahead and touch upon the performance of Battlefield 6. Now, I haven't tried streaming it and recording it just yet. That's what I'm very curious about, if I'll be able to stream and record without my PC wanting to absolutely crap itself. We'll find out. I've been able to do it with every other Battlefield game. I'm hoping at some point in time the optimization of this title gets to the point where I can. But that is from a content creator's, view, right? As I always state, the mass majority of people who are playing this game are your every average day people who just want to enjoy themselves. They're not going to be hopping online and hitting the record button every single time they go up and active. But I will say, just recording without streaming, performance was phenomenal. But let's talk about just the game itself, where it currently stands. The performances, my God. I know I made a whole video about this, but I have to mention it again. A round of applause to DICE. Seriously, I know people don't want to give them props in certain areas, but I've never played a Battlefield game that performs in this way. Usually, every single beta is packed with bugs, rubber banding, connection issues, frame drops, all of the above. All of the above, going into the full launch, and then even past the full launch, we're still running into these issues. Battlefield 6 is so smooth, buttery, and crispy. It makes me think something is going on here. It has to be a hook somewhere by EA that is going to happen later down the road, because I've never seen a Battlefield game perform in such a way that something has to go wrong. Something does, but until then, I just want to report to you guys that for me, at least personally, it is just running like a dream. And it makes me happy because, I really enjoy the game, and nothing's worse than enjoying the game but having 2 FPS on it 24/7. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, I would love to go ahead and discuss the new matchmaking system they incorporated into Battlefield 6. Basically, for those who don't know, there is like a semi-server browser for, matchmaking, where you can fine-tune your options between what maps you want to play and also what game modes you want to play. Of course, I know that people are going to be a little salty that it's not the official server browser, although they are saying we will still have a server browser, no doubt, especially when it comes down to Portal. It's just not being tested publicly yet, and probably will be only put in the lab. But for the public testing during the open beta, they're going to go ahead and mess around with the matchmaking, system they put together here. And I'll be real, I actually really like it. There's a difference between what we have here for the matchmaking and also between a server browser. Even if you go ahead and fine-tune what you want to play on when it comes down to a server browser. For example, let's say you want to play one map and one map only. Let's say you want to play Operation Lockers or something like that. Yeah, you might find a 24/7, playlist open in Battlefield 4 that you can only play. But, it's probably just going to find you the official servers in like a newer Battlefield game, for example, that are going to be playing all the maps in a rotation that might just so happen to be on Operation Locker. But within the matchmaking, option here, you can make sure that you only play that map again and again and again and again. As long, of course, there's lobbies available to stuff you into. If there's not, then it'll probably shuffle you into a different map. But right now, with the current player count, and guys, trust me, the player count is juicy. I mean, my goodness, I think we already hit 300,000. Guys, the player count tanked when the beta shut down, and we already boosted back up at like almost 4 to 5 a.m. Keep that in mind. 4 to 5 a.m. and it boosts up on Steam to almost 300,000 individuals. That is just literally so mental. So with a player count like that, yeah, this system works great. So if you only want to play 1 or 2 maps, trust me, you could do it again and again and again without having any issues whatsoever. So for the public matchmaking system, this is a great addition, but let's not give in yet because obviously we still have yet to see the server browser, and let's keep our fingers crossed that it turns out to be phenomenal as well, because if it is, man, we really do have the best of all worlds. And ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the final topic I have for you guys, and probably the most controversial topic of the, weekend 2 of Battlefield 6. Rush. Now, Rush is an iconic game mode in all of Battlefield history, but it seems a lot of people are kind of pissed off about it right now. And I'll be real, I don't completely see why. Now, I do understand some of the complaints. I think the biggest complaints right now are the player count. It's a lot less players. It's 12v12 in Battlefield 6. The spawns, and also the location of the bomb sites. Now, yeah, and I'll agree that the location of the bomb sites are, a little interesting, and they can probably go ahead and tweak these things. And when it comes down to the player count, who knows? Maybe when it comes to the bigger maps that they introduce later on, a larger player count might work. But I mean, you could even see in the gameplay that I'm going to be showcasing to you guys, this is on peak, probably the biggest map within the beta. 12v12, of course, and I am getting an insane load of combat right now, a lot of action. I feel like they intentionally put the player count here because it actually kind of plays decent when it comes to Battlefield 6 map layouts. Would it play good in, let's say like Battlefield 3, 4, or something like that? I don't know. It'll probably be a completely different story. But the maps that they have presented to us, it's not bad. I think truly the biggest issue here comes down to the location of the bomb sites. I don't even think the spawns are that bad because really it just comes down to, playing with your squad, having squad mates alive, knowing how to rotate each other's lives, going ahead and getting recons to put down spawn beacons to allow you to have better spawn locate. It's a lot of things for the spawns. I don't think that's too big of an issue. I think the biggest problem is the bomb locations. But the best part about this is that we're in beta, and all of these things can change, and anybody who says they can't change is lying to you, because they already changed a ton of the zones and locations within Conquest and Breakthrough, including combat zones as well. They are very open to readjusting how some of these maps play, depending on the game mode, and Rush is no exception. It has a good foundation. I really enjoy Rush within Battlefield 6, but I do agree some tweaks have to be made. But I do believe in the team at DICE with making those tweaks actually happen. But ladies and gentlemen, overall, I gotta be real, I'm having a blast with the weekend 2 of Battlefield 6. I can't deny it. I'm having just as much fun, if not more fun, with this, beta weekend. And of course, if things change, if some things pop up, I'll be right here to go ahead and discuss those problems. But for the time being, there's not many. I already discussed a lot of the issues I've had with this game, but overall, I think it's a great title, so far at least. Of course, with some love and work, it could really become something phenomenal. Like, for example, think of Battlefield 4. That game had a awful launch. I will say this right now. Battlefield 6 in its current spot performs way better than Battlefield 4 ever did. But the devs never gave up on Battlefield 4. They kept pushing with it. They gave it tons of love, care, content, updates, performance, update, all of the above. To now, it's known as one of the best Battlefield games ever made. Same thing could be done with Battlefield 6 here. Again, people have their problems. People have things that are wrong. Like, for example, the closed weapon playlist. I will say this as well. I almost forgot to mention this. They need to stop putting it at the end. The whole point of having both open and closed weapons was to go ahead and test which one is more popular. But if you're going to purposefully put it at the very end so nobody can see it, that's kind of skewing the numbers in my personal opinion. Things like this. Obviously, we have things that we can voice our opinions about. But I'll tell you right now, compared to a bunch of previous titles that we've had within this Battlefield franchise, this is off to a much better start, and I cannot wait to see what else DICE has planned for the future of the overall game. But, ladies and gentlemen, as always, go down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking about beta weekend number 2 of Battlefield 6. I think we're in the closed portion right now. Open beta will probably open up around Saturday. But still, those who have access, by all means, what are you guys thinking? Do you like the new map, Empire State? What do you think of Rush? Do you think it's, decent, or do you think it's horrible compared to previous versions of Rush? Also, the matchmaking system. Do you like it? Do you like being able to pick what maps you want to play on, game mode, so on and so forth? Give me all the details down below and leave as much feedback as you guys can possibly do, because again, that's the only way a lot of these games can go ahead and improve. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post your daily at 8 morning Eastern time, and sometimes we even go ahead and double upload at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Everything between COD, Battlefield, Arc Raiders, Splitgate 2. You best believe you'll hear about all that content on this channel. And last but not least, I am going to be streaming the Battlefield 6 beta pretty much all weekend long, even including Sunday. Probably starting around like 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. So, of course, if you guys want to hop into the open lobbies or even go ahead and chat it up with me about Battlefield 6, by all means, you can find a link to my Twitch channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.